Hi, how are you? I wanted to just come on here, a quick video. I'm waiting for my son. So don't mind me, I'm in my car. Um, excuse me. I just had a little lunch, so. I talk a lot about, whether in my memes or in videos, I talk a lot about taking your power back and not giving your power away to people. And I wanted to just kind of tap on that really quick as to how that would translate in real world, right? So anytime we allow people to take rent-free space in our brain, okay, or we allow people with their emotional state to impact our emotional state. So if someone walks into your room or wherever you are and is like, oh my God, you're not going to believe what just happened. And then all of a sudden you have this surge of energy and you're like, what? Or I'm busy. What's going on? And now all of a sudden you're almost anxious, right? Because you absorbed that energy, that emotion. And that's why I refer to emotions as energy, because it really is. And it's, as we know, energy flows. If we look at electricity, we look at it, all moves. It continuously moves. And that's how it generates, right? It's kinetic, if you will. Yeah, there's potential energy. That's that buildup. But once it blows and we're like, oh my God, you got to listen to me. Right? Sometimes that's the best way to kind of explain it, because it feels like, oh my God, and it can be too much sometimes depending on how sensitive you are. So allowing that and not being mindful of your own boundaries. So what I try to do is when people try to project that kind of energy onto me, and that's the easier kind, quite truthfully, because you know that that's coming from someone else. You know that that's like, whoa, all right, give me a minute. It's really setting that sometimes verbal boundary that says, I need a minute. Or why don't you breathe a little bit, ground yourself, calm down. Obviously, that's it's going to vary depending on who you're talking to, how open they are to receiving any level of coaching or pushback. And some people, they just need the whole, I need you to step out of the room with that kind of energy until you can calm yourself down. And then you can approach me, because that's respect. Okay. And it doesn't mean that people are deliberately trying to be disrespectful. Sometimes it's just habitual, right? When you get, oh my God, what do I do with this? The natural inclination is to give it to someone else or to share it so that you're not holding the burden by yourself. Okay. So it's easy for us to quickly slip into this idea that that's okay and that it's not disrespectful for me to share this, because maybe I just found out some intense information that scared me, and I'm sharing that out of feeling protective, and I want other people to be aware of this information so that they can be safe, or da. However, at the end of the day, if we don't know for a fact that it's true, or even if it's something that it may be true, but there's nothing we can do about it, what are we really doing by taking that kind of energy and scaring other people? What are we really doing? Because there's a difference between being grounded and calmly informed and another where we're fear-mongering so that we can all sit together in a circle and be like, yeah, at least we get each other, yeah. And I'm not trying to make fun of anyone, because God knows I've been there in my life too. It's part of human development, I guess, in some degree, when we are developing our emotional fluency, if you will. And that's not something we're born with. We're born with a lot of emotions, and this is why babies cry. But we're not born learning how to manage them. And if we grow up in a very invalidating environment that says, go to your room and figure it out. Well, how am I going to figure it out if you don't teach me? Or I need you to be quiet, but I'm upset. Well, deal with it. And again, I'm laughing because that's just my go-to. Oh my God, this hood is driving me bonkers. Apologies, but it keeps pulling back and ugh. Anyway, that's my thing. So be mindful of that when we're trying to teach children. When I see adults that behave like that really don't know how to control their emotions and they allow emotions to overtake them, my first thought is they weren't taught. This is how they were taught to deal with emotions, to project it onto other people. And sometimes it is appropriate to share. However, it's the nature in which we share that determines our emotional intelligence. If I'm sharing sad news or upsetting news, and I'm doing it in a calm way that's showing stability, showing security, right? Like if I have to deliver that someone passed away, I'm not going to go and say, you're not going to believe this, but da 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 da, because that's not maturity. At least not emotional maturity. We can be mature in a lot of ways, but if we are just vomiting emotion on people, we are not emotionally mature. And I'm not trying to pick on anyone, but these are things that we need to look in the mirror and see about ourselves, because we're only going to get as good as we give. And if we want better for ourselves, which hopefully everyone does because everyone deserves better, then we have to show up better. And the best way to do that is to get to know yourself and understand, wow, I've been putting this out in the universe. No wonder this is what I'm getting back. You know, like people that love to gossip and talk about juicy details and stuff like that. Ugh. It's like, stay away from me with that stuff. I can't. I don't care. I'm too busy working on me. I don't need to know what someone else is struggling with unless they're my client and they want me to work with them. I will partner with them to help them, but ultimately the work is theirs to do. Because you are your only healer. People can help guide you, direct you, but unless you're willing to look in the mirror, look at yourself and see your own behaviors, what you're putting out into the world, it's not going to change. It's called self-accountability. So this is what I mean when I say take back your power. Don't allow people to disrupt your calm just because theirs is disrupted. Their emergency does not need to be yours. Okay? Especially if they created it. And usually the people that really like to project onto us are the ones that create the problem, and then they're just feeding off of your reaction. Those are what we call narcissists. Okay? We all have narcissistic behaviors if we're pushed to a point where it's just basically toxic behaviors. Not everyone, I think the word is overused big time. Okay? A lot of people that people say are narcissists really aren't. They just have toxic behaviors, and because they're triggered in such a way, that's what's coming out. This is a general message. So I'm not talking about anyone in specific or whatever, okay? I'm just trying to put out some information. Everyone has to kind of trust their own environment and see what fits for them as far as who's who and what's what. But the goal here isn't to judge people. It's to get to know yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing you can control. And I don't even like the word control. Because we're fluid too. So we're constantly, hopefully, moving and not stagnant. Okay? But if we are stagnant, that's because there's something in the mirror we're not looking at. And usually things in our environment are trying to highlight that for us. So pay attention. Be mindful. But when people try to trigger you, whether through word manipulation, for instance, if you have a real problem with the idea of quitting, okay? Someone who knows that about you might use that word strategically in your life, right? They might be like, yeah, but don't quit on us, or don't quit your job, or da 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 da. Where there's a difference between when we grow and learn and we evolve. Sometimes we have to let things go from the past and move forward into more alignment with ourselves. That's not quitting, that's evolving, okay? But that's the power of language. If someone knows you have a hang up with the idea of quitting or abandoning, then they might use that word against you when you're trying to honestly just move forward with your life in a way that serves you in your best and highest good. And as you take care of yourself and you move forward in your life in a way that serves you, other people around you will benefit from that. But that's how people show their true colors, though. When people try to hold you for their own selfish needs, whether it's work, relationship, you name it. No bueno. Okay? So be mindful of that. That's also giving your power away. Well, I can't because this is what's expected of me. And if I do this, then I'll let all these people down. Well, are all these people not letting you down if they don't allow you to live your life? I don't know. Again, I'm not talking about any specific situation. I'm literally, sorry, a thought just popped in my head. I'm literally just putting out a general message. It's going to apply to different people in different ways. Okay? But as long as people are out here peopling, we're going to have these types of issues. Because depending on a person's level of attachment and their level of fear, they're going to hold on real tight. Because not everyone is as comfortable with change, evolving, and movement. Okay? All right, well, I think I'm going to leave this here. There's more that I can talk about when it comes to giving away power and taking power back. But this was just supposed to be a short general message. And hopefully it helps. So any questions, let me know. Just be mindful of the energy that you're trying to ground and sit in. Is it serving you? And if so, don't let anyone change that. Okay? If you like being calm, collective, and just moving forward in such a way that you feel safe and you feel good and you feel whole, and someone comes in and tries to disrupt that, that's either a conversation or that could be I never want to see this person again. It could be, it also depends on patterns of behavior and things like that. So just pay attention, okay? Don't be a drone in life. Pay attention to what's happening around you, within you, and trust your body and yourself to know what serves you and what doesn't. Okay? And be mindful of words, language. They hold power. All right, wishing you all the best, and I'll talk to you again soon. All right, bye.